crisis? Who wants to start a speech? Who wants to start to deliver bad news? Well, I think we are all living in very vulnerable times. And I've been on the side of the hoteliers, those people who run the show. And now, after selling my own business, my hotels, I'm on the other side, on the owning side. And I've got a few questions which I will bring to the stage. But before, I'd like to thank my predecessors who spoke on stage, and they said it's all about storytelling. We've heard that before. I brought you a few stories. Who of you has ever been flying with Singapore Airlines? Anybody? Most of you. That's wonderful. Those of you who haven't, I want to really ask you to do so. If you look at the ladies and the gentlemen from Singapore Airlines, they look like they've been sculptured as an artisanal person. They look like they are dressed by Giorgio Armani, and they smell beautiful because they get for free the perfumes and the cosmetics and all the rest of it. Yet they are no robots. They are real personalities, pride personality. And I had the pleasure of working for these guys. I trained some of them, and I think I learned more by training them than the other way around. When I first came to Singapore in their training center, I met their manager. And this person you can see here, this lady. And she asked, with a tone of -3 degrees in her tone, what exactly did you not understand with 3 millimeters length of the fingernails? Well, you can call this inhuman. You can call this even humiliating. Or you can call this a service standard, which sets them aside from all others. These ladies are in training, and they differentiate themselves in many aspects. They are not the opposite of individuals. They are individuals. However, they live up to standards. And perhaps it embodies a uniquely Asian sense of empathy. But these ladies and gentlemen from Singapore are the pride of the entire country. And when they finish their training, by the way, which takes 3 times longer than the training with Swiss Air, and 4 times longer than the training with Lufthansa, every time the Prime Minister of the country will come to those trainees, to every single one of them, and will say, "You are the pride of Singapore. You are a Singapore girl or a Singapore boy." That's the way they call themselves. "Go out and make me proud." Prime Minister. Well, obviously, service excellence is at their heart, and obviously, they are having a very different approach to how things are done. When I flew the other day to Singapore from Munich, the very first thing the manager, the service manager, asked me as I get out of the plane, "So, what can we do better? How can we improve?" I said, "Well, let me first tell you how great the service was, how pleasant." He said, No, I know all that. Tell me, how can we get better? The image I want to know is today better than yesterday, and tomorrow better than today. So he was longing for a complaint. I said, well, there's one thing which is a little bit odd to us Europeans. Every time I order a drink, the lady or the gentleman go on their knees, and that to us is almost devote. He looked at me, he said, "Devote? You missed the point. We're meeting our clients eye to eye." It's a very different approach to how some other airlines do this. And you know, they even have a sense of humor, and their sense of humor goes beyond standard operating procedures. Their sense of humor goes beyond anything which has been written down. I was flying this business class with my business partner, and in front of me, there was a couple. And this couple liked each other. You know what I mean? They really, really liked each other. I mean, they were very kind of happy together. They had a romantic affair on the plane. Can you imagine what would happen if a German stewardess, a German flight attendant would come and see this? They would probably report them to the police. Not so at Singapore Airlines. In Singapore Airlines, the light was brightened, and all of a sudden you hear this dark voice coming from the captain saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are expecting heavy turbulences. Please fasten your seatbelt, sit your chair straight, and also put the pillow back to where it belongs. Alone, we were flying without any turbulences for thousands and thousands of miles. That's the way how they handle it. They have a different approach. They are kind. They are pleasant. When I say this, it means that we have to not always look at how other people do business. In the hotel business, we are the master of copy and pasting. We have so many brands which are alike, similar, and we expect the customer, the guest, to understand the difference. Well, I was working for Starwood at the time when Marriott bought Starwood. I think today they have over 40 different brands. And I even today ask myself, how can you differentiate yourself? How can you be different so the BMW doesn't look like the Mercedes? And it's always the same. We are thinking in our business, and you see benchmarking, Samsung copies Apple. We are thinking by copying, we innovate faster. And I really believe that our guests, the luxury and the ultra-luxury guests at least, see the difference. So if you really want to rise above and achieve higher rates, achieve higher occupancies, have more return guests, I think this picture says it all. Anybody knows this guy here? This one here? Do you know this guy? Who is he? What's his name? You don't know? I don't know either. But do you know this guy? Michael Phelps, of course. He's the fastest swimmer on earth. And look where the second guy looks and where Phelps focuses. He focuses on winning the race, not on copying, not on pasting, not on doing the same thing, not on being slightly different but better. And the question is not processes versus attitude. I don't think that it is the case. I think the question is a different one. The question is, how can we leverage on perfect processes? When I speak to the hoteliers today, and I'm very much on the owning side, I represent owning companies. All these companies tell me that they have fantastic standard operating procedures, the architecture, we just heard about the sustainability. We hear it all over. More of the same. We're beating each other in having higher standards in storytelling, hospitality, whatever. But we don't focus on what really matters. And I really want to come back to what, in my opinion, really matters. But I have two more stories for you to tell, because storytelling is so much important. Who of you remember not in this hotel, not at the Mandarin, of course, but any other hotel you stayed in, what was the first question you've been asked when you arrive at the reception? What's the first sentence the receptionist will tell you? What is the first question they ask you? We don't know each other, but you're absolutely right. Did you enjoy your trip? What a stupid question. Nobody has a good trip. The plane is late, the cab driver, whatever. If you're in Germany, don't take the train. Nobody has a good trip. People don't want to travel. There's a very big difference. People don't want to travel. People want to arrive. That's not the same thing, arriving versus traveling. It's a big difference. Yet we, with our standard operating procedure, everybody has been trained in this. Did you enjoy your trip? Mentally put them back in a negative stage, not in a positive one. No, I didn't have a good trip. My answer is always the same. Oh, did I have a good trip? Yeah. When I left home, I drove over the black cat, you know, that cat from the neighbor. It's dead, unfortunately. And when I drove into your garage, there was a 7 Series BMW. I scratched the wall. It had your logo on it. Does it belong to you? All of a sudden, they are awake. What I'm saying is not more of the same. So we don't know each other, but every hotel you go to, they would ask you, did you have a good stay? And they don't even look at you because their hands have been trained that everything is in the computer. And at the very same hotel, and this is storytelling, at the very same hotel, you probably had breakfast. And between you and this beautiful buffet, this beautiful setup, which the food and beverage manager prides himself, and standard operating procedures have been written about, and pictures have been taken by the chef, by the very same buffet. There is that person. And what is the first question the person is going to ask you? Please. What are they going to say? Room number! It's a war declaration. In the morning, first thing, I say, oh, you want my room number? You're very fast. Can we start with a mobile phone? What do you mean? I said, ma'am, you asked me for my room number. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Take it easy. Room number. It's one of those standard operating procedures we focus on. It's an insult, but it's not the fault of the lady or the gentleman at the reception door. No, it's the fault of the manager. Because the manager prints or has somebody print the list by room number instead of by name. But it's very hard to say, Mr. 747, can I bring you to table number 13? It's silly. Yet, everywhere in the world, it's room number. And why am I mentioning all these little details? Why am I mentioning this? Because, and now I want to raise the bar from the storytelling. While we are all focused on design, architecture, location, one step further down, storytelling, sustainability, we talk about motivation. We, from the owner's point of view, spend tons and tons of millions of dollars paying high dollars for sales, for marketing, for all sorts of things, as you all know. But we don't ask our operators on training. We don't ask on service standards. We don't ask on retention. We don't ask those KPIs. These KPIs are not asked. They are opportunity costs. They're hidden somewhere in the GOP, behind the GOP. But you know, these questions are the most important questions. I want to give you an example. Maybe some of you have been to the city of Munich. The city of Munich is the city with the highest average rate in Germany. They have, let's say, 5 or 6 good hotels. There's the Kempinski Hotel, AAA location, 125-year history, super hotel. Average rate, 450 euro. There's the Roccoforte Hotel, AA location, very well maintained, 450 euro average rate. There's the Bayerischer Hof, the most traditional hotel, maybe in Germany, if not in Europe. Average rate, 450 euro. You ask yourself, do they talk to each other? No, they don't talk to each other. There's the Mandarin Oriental, 1A location, not AA, not AAA, 1A. Small hotel, 67 rooms, no restaurant, no bar, all outsourced, just nice rooms. 1,200 euro average rate. There's the Rosewood, brand new. AA location, 1,100 euro average rate. So the Mandarin triples the rate of the traditional Kempinski Hotel, of the Roccoforte, and so forth. Why? What did they do different? Branding, right? Image. And how does this image come? I mean, with all due respect to Mandarin Oriental, and I'm a great fan, some of their hotels, I've been to most of them, are not as well-shaped as this one is. The Munich one is not. The one in Singapore certainly isn't, even after the renovation. And there are some other hotels which I put in doubt. Are they really the best there are? No. But you know, when you go to those brands, the Four Seasons, the Mandarins, the Armands, the Rosewoods, I can continue, they deliver a different level of service which the guests are paying, prepared to pay, top dollar. Yet, we don't ask for that as owners. We're looking at the carpet, we're looking at the furniture, we're looking at the design, we're looking at the storytelling. Why is Amazon a different business, but same mindset? Why is Amazon one of the most profitable companies in the world? Well, every meeting they have, every session they discuss, every person they talk to, they have a principle. The principle of the 13th chair. Have you heard of the 13th chair? Who has heard of the 13th chair? Nobody? Every time they meet, they have an empty chair on the head of the table. It's not for His Royal Highness or for the prince or for the CEO. It's for the guest. But it's an empty chair. because the guest sits there and the staff imagines these people are within the room. And every time they make a decision, the last question they ask themselves is, what's in for the customer? What's in for the guest? And if there's nothing in for the guest, they simply don't take that decision. Everything is focused on the guest, not on the architect, not on the design. It all plays a role, but it plays a role. It's not the dominant factor. So, in other words, it's coming on. Take my personal belief how to run a hotel and how to run a company today professional. I strongly believe professionalism, all that we do, without warmth, without the empathy of our staff, without the kindness, is arrogance. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.